Here we go again. Here we go again with Mina Kimes doing what she does best, playing the role of the ultimate victim. I don't know of another person in mainstream sports media that is less qualified to do their job than Mina Kimes. Well, you're a misogynist. How dare you insult our precious Mina? The only reason you don't like her is because you don't like hearing female voices talking about the NFL. Erin Andrews talks about the NFL. I have nothing but respect for her. Michelle Tafoya, she talks about the NFL. I have the utmost respect for her. Contrary to the belief of deacons at Woke United Methodist, my criticisms of Mina Kimes, it has absolutely nothing to do with her gender. That's what Tina wants you to believe. Anytime Mina Kimes is criticized, her first line of defense, it is always to accuse you of violating the woke commandments. Matter of fact, the worldwide leader in woke, ESPN, they have a specific commandment that was created just for Mina. Thou shalt not disparage our Lord and risen Queen. If you are collecting woke welfare at ESPN, you are not allowed, under any circumstances, to be critical of Mina Kimes. They treat her like she actually walks on a football field. Now, to her credit, Mina Kimes is knowledgeable when it comes to the NFL. She's very talented. She is great on television. As a personality, Mina Kimes is great, but my issue has always been her job title, NFL analyst. Historically, these roles have always been given to former players. I mean, it makes sense, right? How can you analyze a league that you have never played in? How can you explain the mentality of a player when the closest you have gotten to an NFL locker room is when you were there to pick up the dirty laundry? Calling Mina Kimes an NFL analyst, that's like calling me a Wall Street analyst because I have a 401k. It would be like my dad calling himself a YouTuber because he watches videos on this platform. It would be like Freddie calling himself Betty because he's got man boobs. Even though she was given, keyword given, because that's what this job is to Mina Kimes, a generous gift. Even though she was given the title of NFL analyst from ESPN, Mina Kimes will never be a real analyst. If you want to get technical, Mina Kimes really shouldn't even be working at ESPN because she violated what is supposedly their golden rule. If you're a woke welfare collector at ESPN, you are not allowed to talk about politics. Mina Kimes is a repeat offender. But if you point this out, or if you dare to have the audacity to ask the legend in her own mind a question, Mina Kimes, she will accuse you of mythical racism. And you don't have to take my word for it, because unlike Mina Kimes, KC always comes with the proof. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. As you guys know, ESPN fired Sam Ponder earlier this week. Now, according to ESPN, Sam Ponder was fired due to budget cuts. Me personally, I ain't buying it. I looked down the list of people in the mainstream media I trust. ESPN did not make the list. Now, I think Sam Ponder was fired because of her willingness to defend women. If you're a parishioner at Woke United Methodist, you probably think Sam Ponder is a radical because she believes that only women should be allowed to compete in women's sports. Radical thinking, right? Now, in their defense, ESPN had every right to fire Sam Ponder because she did violate their policy. The problem is, enforcement of the policy, it is always one-sided. Mina Kimes, she is allowed to essentially endorse Timmy Walz without consequence. I played this clip for you guys the other day, but I'm going to share it here again for those who missed it. Mina Kimes, I think it was last week, she was the guest on something called Pablo Torre Finds Out He's a Huge Embarrassing Failure. With Mina being ESPN's go-to source for invalid analysis of the NFL. I think she was booked on the show to educate Tori's family, which he calls an audience. Mina was there to educate them on the spread offense. Hey there, Tori family, it's me, Mina Kimes. A spread offense is when the center spreads his legs to properly snap the balls into the hands of the quarterback. Instead of explaining the nuances of her version of the spread offense, Mina Kimes, she traveled to a land in a galaxy far, far away, where Cam Harris' selection for Vice President Tim Walz is considered to be masculine. Watch for yourself.
There's something really important about seeing someone like this modeling a different kind of masculinity that we just haven't seen. And I think we're kind of seeing it a little bit in the NFL with the Kelseys and Dan Campbell, this idea that big, tough football guy isn't separate from showing emotions and empathy and that kind of thing. And I when I see them leading with, because Kamala, dude, yes, they're calling him coach and whatnot, but in the same breath, they're emphasizing this man, the year he was a football coach, also ran the Gay Straight Alliance at the high school.
Just so we are clear, according to pretend NFL analyst Mina Kimes, a man can only be considered masculine if he utilizes the feminine products in the boys' bathroom. A man can only be considered masculine if he admits that he has the ability to get pregnant. That is the definition of masculinity, according to Mina Kimes. Naturally, Michelle Tafoya, she was embarrassed for Mina Kimes and she wanted to express her sympathy. With Mina Kimes constantly begging for sympathy, you would think she would appreciate this kind gesture. But instead of appreciating the free sympathy, Mina Kimes, she responded to Michelle Tafoya with a picture of LeBron James, insinuating that she doesn't want her sympathy or secondhand embarrassment. Now, given the back and forth between a real NFL reporter and a pretend NFL analyst, Outkick, they naturally had some questions for Mina Kimes. One of the writers at Outkick, he either found Mina Kimes' phone number on the wall in the VIP room at Club Shay Shay, or he sent her a direct message on Twitter. Either way, he asked Mina Kimes a couple of questions for an article that he was working on. Question 1. What were you trying to imply with your response to Michelle Tafoya? Great question, because the topic was masculinity, and Mina Kimes replied with a picture of LeBron James. Yeah. Question 2. Do you think Michelle Tafoya was wrong to post that tweet about your masculinity comments? And question 3. Do you wish to elaborate on your definition of Tim Walz being masculine? Which is another great question. I have seen more examples of masculinity in the WNBA than I have seen in Tim Walz. 3 simple questions that should have been very easy for Mina Kimes to answer, but instead of answering the questions, Mina Kimes, she fell back on her first line of defense when she finds herself in these traumatic situations. She accused Clay Travis and Outkick of violating the woke commandments and painted herself as the ultimate victim. Check it out for yourself. Dear peasant, do you know who I am? I am the great Mina Kimes. I am omniscient and above criticism. Your lies about me have caused my family to become victims of mythical racism just like myself. The Kimes family is proud to be a family of victims. As of right now, you no longer have the privilege of texting the Great One. Please ignore my number when you're in the VIP room at Club Shay Shay. Signed, Mina Kimes. Your horrible lies have led to racism towards my family. Let me ask you something. How many of you would recognize Mina Kimes' husband? My guess is none of you. But even if you could, she can't be talking about mythical racism affecting her husband because he's a white dude. So Mina, she must be talking about her parents, her siblings, her distant cousins. How many of you would be able to recognize them if you passed them on the street? Again, my guess is none of you. So I'm struggling to understand how Mina Kimes' family has been affected by mythical racism because Outkick had the audacity to ask her some questions. But let's just assume for a second that Mina Kimes is telling the truth. If this is actually the case, why wouldn't Mina Kimes provide evidence? In the past, she's had no trouble providing evidence of misogyny and racism when she was seeking sympathy on social media. Remember a couple of years ago when Mina Kimes posted a direct message that she received on Twitter where the dude was criticizing her for being a female who covers the NFL? She posted an example of one message to show her lonely male followers, this is what I have to deal with being a woman in sports media. Please feel sorry for me. Mina Kimes never passes up an opportunity to be the ultimate victim. So, if this was true, why wouldn't she provide proof so lonely men would feel sorry for her? The answer is obvious. Mina Kimes is full of shit. Outkick is one of the dozens of media sites that I look at on a daily basis. Sometimes I will use stories from Outkick, like this one, for topics here on the channel. When I visit the site, it is pretty much guaranteed I am going to see an article about Olivia Dunne. Now, I have never understood Outkick's obsession with Olivia Dunne, but apparently their readers are obsessed with her because they write about her every day. When I visit the site, I'm guaranteed to see betting picks, stories about Major League Baseball that I doubt anyone reads, stories about Cam Harris. There used to be articles about Johnny B. Biden, but since Johnny B. has returned to hiding in the Delaware dungeon, Outkick doesn't cover him as much. The point is, there are certain people, certain topics that I expect to see on Outkick every day or every week. You know how often I see Outkick covering Mina Kimes? Hell, you know how often I see Mina Kimes talked about anywhere in the mainstream media? Rarely. Think about it. When is the last time we talked about Mina Kimes here on the channel? Before she made those ridiculous comments about Timmy Walz, when is the last time we talked about Mina Kimes? I don't know if we have talked about her all year. Clay Travis, he has offered Mina Kimes a spot on his radio show to discuss her false allegations of mythical racism. Now, will she accept the generous offer? Doubtful. Why? Because she knows there's no defending the indefensible. This is what they do. They throw out false accusations. They cry mythical racism. And when someone has the audacity to question their claims, they block them on Twitter. As talented as she is, this is why it is impossible to respect Mina Kimes. It's also why sports media personalities should not involve themselves in politics, but, those days are long gone. But give me your thoughts on this. Mina Kimes, once again trying to be the ultimate victim, and gets exposed by Clay Travis and Outkick. Do you consider Mina Kimes to be an NFL analyst? I'm not talking about a reporter, contributor. I'm not talking about a personality. I'm talking about someone who is actually qualified to analyze the league. Is Mina Kimes an NFL analyst? I don't think she is, but I could be wrong. You tell me. Sound off in the comments below. Like, subscribe, share the video. Appreciate your support. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, and I'll see you guys later.